was going to be a week later, wasn't it? What were they going to say?
No, the next drop was the next day.
Oh, it's the next day with the next melon, right? With the 1 melon. Yeah, okay. So,
and this is the first time Richard would even have a chance, because you're not going to tell him while you're rushing Benjamin in to save his life. And the moment Benjamin died...
But you have moments. So you have moments when he told Morgan. So you have the rest of the night to sleep. You wake up in the morning. I don't know what time the drop is at, but at least it's
Morgan. He told Morgan the moment Morgan got back from having his
Was
crazy
that the same
fit.
day?
Yeah.
So it was the same day. So he told Morgan...
As
the
soon
next
as he
day,
had a chance.
Okay, and then they packed that 1 melon that took forever, as we saw in the opening credits.
Yeah.
You're telling me he didn't have a chance to tell the king?
Okay, you're talking about Morgan. You're telling about Richard...
Not telling the
everybody
king.
else.
Yeah. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have told them.
You should. That was, I think, as I feel like Morgan. What precedes. What follows. What follows next is, I think, is the reason why he does what he does. I don't think he would have done it if it wasn't for that.
Either way,
the way I interpret it, anyway.
Yeah. Either way, it's just a real stupid idea. Real stupid. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Well, because don't forget. Before we do, you're saying, like, the whole point was that at this point on, Richard admits it, tells Morgan why he does it, and he says we have to gain back the Savior's trust, which is still a slow process to gain back what they trust, and then strike.
All a good plan. The only thing I think that may have thrown Morgan over the edge, if Morgan was rational, is how quickly Richard said we need to use his death.
Right. But
that was all part of the plan. That was a plan when it was Richard.
Yeah.
Now it should still be the plan when it's Benjamin, or else he died for nothing.
Right. It was supposed to be a valiant manipulation in a way.
And instead of him dying, he is now going to lead the army, or at least the kingdom.
And he's thinking, who are you actually to do that? Because what makes you think he's going to lead?
Well, he reminds me of Gerard Butler, and I feel like he'd be a good leader.
And Gerard Butler wouldn't do that to Benjamin. He would make sure Benjamin isn't.
He'd do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad plan.
If it was him that died, no.
Yeah.
And
there was no reason for anyone to think that it would have gone south, because everything was pointing in the direction that Richard would die.
Right.
And he was, Morgan screwed it all up. Morgan is the one.
No, not really. Morgan kind of like, I would argue that he made amends back to the way they were supposed to.
He added insult to injury is what he did.
No. We'll go on.
We'll talk about it. So they load that single melon up, meet with the Saviors. If I wasn't upset already about bringing 12 melons in a truck that could have carried, a couple of horses, I'm super upset that they put one single melon, so much care into one melon. Throw that in the back of a car and drive down. Give them that. You're wasting gas, resources,
manpower.
time.
But you send one person, they might not come back.
Don't send one, but send 4 people. Someone could sit. 5 people. Someone could sit with a melon
all
on their
go in the
lap.
same truck as the melon. So right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
the
that's
melon
what they did.
Rides with them.
They did.
They did, but they used up a bunch of gas. Big old truck to get them there.
Well, you need to carry the people.
You don't need that many people for one melon.
Well, they all went in the same. Don't they all go in the same truck?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The truck's taking up more gas than a little.
Whatever.
It's a 2-door Honda or something.
I don't know. It's more. Yeah, but it's more for it's to bring the people and the melon. They all go in the same truck. So
you can fit 5 people in a 2-door car.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can.
Not comfortably. Not with like
it's
sticks and stones.
Yeah, Morgan, you're not bringing your stick this time. I'm sorry.
No, he left it on. He left it on the driveway. Apparently, that was the details. Like, did Morgan get a stick back? And then we find out shortly when they arrived, like both sticks are still there.
Yeah,
and he ended up. So, what's the guy's name again? Jared, he valiantly left the stick for him. That's one redeemable quality for him. I don't know.
Well, he was told to.
Yeah, Gavin told him to leave him the stick.
Yeah, so he left the stick. Morgan,
the Saviors, honorable people.
To a point. Morgan wants to know if Richard confessed yet, but he has not had the chance. Yeah, everyone's dealing with a lot. Fine, you haven't confessed yet.
No,
he should have.
He should have. He really should have.
Then it doesn't mean he needs to die.
Yeah.
Saviors roll up, and when Gavin finds out Benjamin died, I thought he was going to kill Jared.
He should have. Why didn't he?
I was hoping he would on the spot.
Me too. It would have been great. It would have been so great if he did. And I just know they have, and that's what follows again. What follows this is what disappoints me more, because I felt like manpower is very vital in this situation next. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I'm surprised that didn't happen. But I think the Saviors know they need the manpower more than anybody else.
Yeah. But you don't need someone like Jared.
Well, he could fight from what it looks like. He has that feistiness. You want to have him on your team. It's kind of like when you have an enforcer in a hockey team. Same thing.
Yeah, I guess. But he's making poor decisions. And he's making decisions against Gavin's orders because they had a plan and he's a loose cannon.
But he does listen to him. He does listen to him in the end.
Well, he listens to him half the time. He listens to him when his life is at stake.
Right.
So instead, he just tells him to walk home. Richard tries to tell them how serious they all are about keeping good blood between them, but Morgan hits him from behind and then chokes him to death.
Now, his first kill in a long time, and he did the most raw way to kill somebody. And bashing their skull onto the pavement and strangling them.
And nobody does anything, David.
Well, what would you do? What are you going to do?
Stop him.
What are you going to do?
Stop him. There is a voice that says, leave them be. Don't know who said it. It was either Gavin or King Ezekiel.
It had to have been Gavin.
Probably Gavin, but regardless, it is one of your men killing another one of your men, and one of those men has not been around for very long.
Right.
And the other man has been there with you since who knows how long, but he's a trusted advisor. He's been with your group for however long. Even if you think something might be up, something's fishy about this, maybe there's a reason he's attacking him, sort it out. Split them up and sort it out.
Do you think is what they played on for that? And I agree with you. First of all, second of all, maybe what they play up on is when Morgan asked, "Did you tell them?" And then King Ezekiel says, "Tell me what?" And he's like, "Oh, we'll discuss this later, Your Majesty." He's like, "Let's discuss this now." But then the saviors interrupt, coming in, and that's you think like after all that shock that Ezekiel's going through and everybody else is going through as well, as Morgan is strangling Richard, that he's like, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should refrain ourselves. Maybe this is something that Morgan was talking about. Which is kind of funny because it could only be Morgan's word at that point.
Yeah. I'm not on board. Like, is there any part of you that thinks that maybe this was the plan? Was for Morgan to kill Richard in front of them and then...
Oof.
Because I can see how that could be something people think. But in no way did they show us that would be that.
Wait, so Richard chose to get his skull bashed and be strangled instead of being shot in the head?
Well, he probably feels real bad about what happened too.
Oh boy, let me endure this.
He should know that he'd be much more useful. Someone has already died for the same cause, and he'd be much more useful in an army against the saviors than to also die for the same reason. And the whole conversation between Richard and Morgan at the beginning of this scene where he said, I'll tell them later. Why would they be talking about this between the two of them?
We could easily debunk that by saying when he said he really wanted to lead that army. So I don't think he could.
So I think it's there's no chance that Morgan had that Richard had planned to die.
No, this was very spontaneous. But the thing, here's the thing. So I know you hated what Morgan did.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. It was totally exaggerated.
Morgan finally kills somebody, and he kills the wrong person on his side.
Yeah, exactly. And like, especially when manpower is probably like, vital.
Yeah.
They have him. But wasn't Richard supposed to die anyway?
He was
supposed to die anyway, and they needed something to gain back their trust. And I don't even think Richard going up to Gavin saying, "Listen, I just want to let you know that we trust you," but then Morgan kills him and takes over. It says exactly what he's about to say and say that we get it. So yes, the actions were very drastic, but made ends meet in a really weird way. And can you really say they pulled this off? No, I really feel like if Scott Gimple wrote something, I don't know why he came up with this. For Morgan's first kill to be on his own side, and because the cost of was a boy in a way that reminded of his son, is a tipping point for Morgan, which only makes you think of Morgan less because he ends up taking up one of his own. Somehow gets away with this because Ezekiel's like, okay, like, this is one of my people. There's got to be some sort of dungeon that he keeps him in for being bad or something. I don't know what, but that doesn't happen. And Morgan somehow has this is back to this gray area.
Oh, yeah.
As of like, his actions causing further damage. So I like to bring up something else though.
Okay.
And I think you might be on board with me on this one. So Morgan hates the fact that Benjamin's life was taken by the actions of Richard.
Okay.
Incidentally, as we said, it wasn't the full intention, but it happened. So he's responsible for it, like indirectly responsible. However, Morgan has been responsible for how many deaths in Alexandria by not killing the wolves.
Oh yeah, no, this is something I've been on board with since the beginning.
Right.
Morgan has caused more death,
than
anyone else.
Right, and anyone else. And then like just one death, one boy. Maybe he meant a lot to the king as well.
Morgan's just his mentality is just misplaced, and
totally.
it's inconsistent.
We saw it's coming. I just didn't think it was going to be this drastic.
It's super inconsistent, and he's. All right, I got to back up a little bit here.
Oh,
because
let's
not
back
that
this
far.
up.
Not that far, but we've been waiting since Morgan showed up at Alexandria for him to start killing people, and this is just like a slap in the face for everybody to see him kill Richard, someone who the only person at the kingdom who was pushing for this fight that we know is going to come. We know the kingdom is eventually going to join Rick,
and he had a bunker full of like ammunition, right? Remember?
Yeah. It's like, we know what's happening. You're wasting so many episodes to show us every individual team getting on board with this.
Wasting episodes is one thing they do. That's true.
We know that it's going to end up being this way. And instead, they're just tiptoeing around it. And then they throw us for a loop and they have Richard die.
I found it was bold that Benjamin died. I'm like, okay, like in terms of narrative, people can't say like, they're not afraid to kill their characters. And then they go and do this. And I'm like, okay, this was weirdly unnecessary, but necessary.
I mean, I don't consider Benjamin a character even. I mean, yeah, he's a character, but like
you said, he was gonna die. This is the minute we find out about the episode we found out about him. So
yeah, well, they build up characters to make us think that their main characters are important, and then they kill them. But It's like, well, you only introduced him this season so that you could kill him this season. Like he's not important to me. I don't care. You had some mysterious line about how he is important and how he is going to be crucial to the kingdom at some point in some way. You never elaborate on it. Now he's dead. What's that going to mean for the rest of the kingdom?
We'll probably find out later anyway. Like, Ezekiel's going to spill the beans. He's going to be emotional. He's going to tell Carol or something because Carol's going to take over. So
now Carol knows because Richard told them all. No, because Morgan already told him. Already told her. I do want to... I know it's pretty obvious, pretty clear how much I hate Morgan for what he's done. But you see, now Morgan takes Richard's line about how this is how serious we are.
Yeah, we killed our own.
Only Richard had a plan when he was going to say it. Richard's plan was get him to believe us, and then we'll strike once the iron is cooled. Morgan's plan is just, he's serious. He means it. He means, like, Morgan has no intention to fight them. All Morgan wants to do is continue the good blood that they have between them. And be like, look how serious we are. Them. I don't think Morgan intends to fight them.
Yeah, he does.
I believe,
but in the episode, yes, he does.
I believe that King Ezekiel means to fight them. Morgan is just... I believe Morgan was serious about wanting to keep them in good standing. When he goes up and he's like, seriously, Richard was... I wouldn't even have found crazy if Morgan said, Richard wanted to trick you guys into thinking we were all okay, but I just killed him, and now I'm telling you we're all okay. And I think Morgan believes it. Nobody else believes it. I think Morgan...
well, we talking about everybody else does believe him.
Okay, everyone believes it. Sorry, I got to back up here.
Again, back up further. Check your rear view window. Take off your seatbelt and back up.
Morgan is the only person who does not want to go to war.
I feel like
he's leaving. He's physically not.
No. Yeah. He's not going to go to war. He's not going to fight alongside with them, but he's going to take out as many saviors as he wants by himself. That's how angry he is.
Oh, he's not talking about taking out saviors.
Oh, yes, he is.
No, he's talking about taking out walkers.
No.
Yeah.
Was that what he said at the end?
When he's like, I'm going to go out there and take out as many as I can, he's talking about walkers because we already saw him go. He's starting to clear again. He's becoming clear Morgan.
I thought he was. I thought he meant saviors at the end.
No,
I was sure. I had the captions.
He even knows how crazy that would be because if he starts taking out saviors, that's not going to go well with their plan of war.
I thought the point was he was going to go by himself and just, I don't know.
He's going to go by himself and start clearing. He's going to kill every last one of them. He wasn't talking about saviors. Like, he knows he can't.
But why are the walkers so relevant to?
Because it's always been relevant to him. In season 3 or 4, when we saw
when we see him,
that was his plan. He's going to kill every walker.
But the walkers had no play in this at all. Like, the walkers have had no play in anything in this season.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But that's just nothing. The way Morgan thinks. He killed somebody. Now he's like, okay, like I can't I'll keep killing, but it's going to be walkers.